So I can't find a photo of him, by the way, unfortunately. However, the 17-year-old was much more than just a thief. He was also one of William's quote-unquote friends. 17, though, man. This dude is starting pretty fucking early with this shit.
Yeah.
He had been along for the ride when William killed a guy called Harry Turner and would eventually serve 6 years for voluntary manslaughter as part of a plea deal in his exchange for his own testimony and an attempt to save his own skin. William Pugh told authorities that he had accepted a ride home from a man who had boasted of the Freeway killings. Based on Pugh's allegations, police then began looking for William Bonin, but not before William would have one last opportunity to strike again. And this one's quite annoying for a couple of reasons, but I'll just tell you the story. On the morning of June 2nd, 1980, William and yet another accomplice, who was a drifter named James Monroe, I'll show you him now. This guy was later found to actually have like a clinical mental disability. I mean, you know, it's pretty clear that all these people have some sort of mental issues, but this is guy, I don't know what he had, but he actually had like, you know, just like a mental disability.
Right, okay.
Like learning difficulties or something, maybe. I don't know. But that's him. He looks like a rejected member from Hanson. Like the fourth one that the mum kept locked up in the basement that she didn't want people to see. That's what he looks like to me. Bop. Yeah, bitch. Let me see. The two picked up 19-year-old Stephen Wells. Stephen agreed to accompany the men back to the apartment they were sharing so they could all have sex. Which, fill your boots, I guess, if that was what you wanted to do. They went back. William and Stephen did the deed, and then William offered Stephen $200 if he could tie him up. And we've learned from a previous episode, don't get tied up by strangers. Definitely do not.
Definitely no.
Stephen agreed, though, and shortly after he was bound, William began to assault him both verbally and physically. James Monroe said that he was watching TV in another room while this was happening. Not to say that he didn't know it was going on, but that he just wasn't an active participant in it. James Monroe claims that he left the room and wasn't present when William began to strangle Stephen after he was dead, but there are questions about that, whether or not that's true or not. After Stephen was dead, William and James took the body in William's van over to our old friend Vernon's house. So these people are all sort of pally-pally with each other.
Yeah.
Who Vernon just said, go dump it somewhere, which is the greatest way to refer to a human body. That's sarcasm for anyone who didn't get that. The very next day, Stephen's body was found behind a gas station dumpster. Again, they're just treating these fucking human beings like fucking just things that they can pick up, use, and drop off. It's fucking gross. And this is the annoying part. The sad thing is that just 30 minutes after William and James's twisted plan took place, LAPD detectives pulled up outside William's apartment to begin their surveillance. If things had just gone a little bit differently, maybe the police could have saved Stephen's life. So literally 30, 40 minutes-ish time difference. Fucking that's one of those horrible annoying things.
Yeah,
I think that's what Alanis Morissette was singing about when she sung Ironic. Definitely. I mean, it's not ironic, but that song isn't really about irony. But maybe that's the ironic thing.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point of it. She is a clever girl, Alanis Morissette. Lady, actually. She wasn't a girl at that point.
There's all these sirens going off.
There is a lot of sirens. I hope they're not coming for us.
Why would they come for us?
I don't know, because they heard our spooky podcast and they think we're red. They've seen red flags and they think we're weird. Over the next, if we do make light, by the way, in between these little moments of horrible grossness, it's because, well, It's needed. I think
very dark.
It's needed, definitely. Over the next few days, detectives did keep a close eye on William. For the next week, his activities were unremarkable. He'd go to work each day and return home to his apartment late at night after visiting with friends around town. On the outside, William Bonin seemed like an ordinary guy. That is, until 9 days later, where William would once again get the urge. Police officers who were tailing his van saw him pick up 5 different young guys. All of them declined until William finally succeeded at convincing a 15-year-old boy to take a ride. Now, we don't have his name because I'm guessing he was maybe
withdrew.
Yeah, I assume so. The police watched as William drove to a deserted beach parking lot, and it didn't take William long to begin his little gross crime. Because by the time the police got out of their car and approached the van, they were able to catch William already in the process of sodomizing the fucking 15-year-old kid. So this fucker moves fucking fast. Like, literally, how long must it take?
Jesus Christ.
If the police pull up and you're in, within seeing distance, how long would it take for them to get out of the car and walk over? Not long at all.
I know.
He fucking moves very quickly. Which is unfortunate, because again, if the police had moved a little bit quicker, the boy wouldn't have had to go through that fucking ordeal.
Yeah.
The police found tape and rope similar to the ones found on the other victims in the van, as well as William's scrapbook of Freeway Kiler stories. So, like I said, he was making a little diary of all this horrible shit that he was doing. The book detailed all of William's crimes in all the grisly detail, but most importantly, also named each one of his accomplices. Vernon was picked up shortly after William. James Monroe was arrested by Michigan State Police a month later because he sort of ran off a little bit. There was something where I read where he was afraid of his own life from William, because I think something like William thought he was a liability or something like that, so he was going to kill him. I don't know. So he ran away. Luckily, the Freeway Killers were finally behind bars.
Good.
William expressed no remorse for what he had done, although he did demonstrate embarrassment and regret at being apprehended. So he wasn't really bothered about actually doing the deed, but he was just a bit bothered about actually getting caught for it. Once confronted with the evidence, he freely confessed to the police. After his arrest, William said to a reporter, "I'd still be killing. I couldn't stop killing. I got easier each time."
No.
William, faced with the overwhelming amount of evidence, confessed to killing 21 young men and boys. Obviously, because of the confession, William's trial was short and sweet. And it didn't take long for the jury to decide that William Bonin had to die for his crimes.
Good.
But William wasn't finished yet. He took advantage of the American legal system and appealed his sentence. Every time an appeal failed, he tried a different route. The thing is, and this is something that I think is fishy, he seemed, to me at least, be part of a larger ring of murderers, rapists and paedophiles. He tried to bargain with knowledge that he had of other unsolved murders because of the people who he knew. But the police said that his help wasn't worth his life, so they didn't want his help with these other murders. It took a while.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be fair.
I guess it's like, you're a fucking monster. There's no fucking bargaining. We're not making any freaking deals. If we want to work these things out, we're going to work them out on our freaking selves. We don't need your help, okay? Yeah. To be honest, just get rid of it. Just whatever you need to do to get rid of this dude. It did take a while, but finally 17 years after the judge initially pronounced the sentence, William had his date with the executioner.
17 years.
17 years, because the fucking dick kept on arguing and wasting fucking government tax money and everything. Just wasting their money, putting them through the fucking loop. The other thing as well is that he actually was able to delay his proceedings for so long that, well, if he was actually executed at the time he was meant to be, he would have got the gas chamber. But by the time he actually was 17 years later, gas chambers were seen as inhumane. Which is a strange thing, isn't it, when you're talking about someone as gross as this, treating them humanely. I feel that, if the evidence is stacked this much against someone so vile... I mean, again, I'm not someone who's sort of pro sort of death penalty. I'm not for it, but there are some, because I genuinely believe that
some
there are
situations where it's not.
Yeah, because
the police are fucked up, the court's fucked up.
I just think that with the death penalty, sometimes it's really risky because there's been so many stories about people being wrongly killed and convicted of things, which is just so... I'm like, if the government can't manage it properly, yeah, get rid of it. But if they were to say that we can, with someone like fucking this, no shadow of a doubt, fucking throw him off a cliff. Why even waste your money on fucking a gas chamber? Just throw him off something. So the gas chamber wasn't in use anymore. So instead, the lethal injection would be the thing to send him to his grave. Okay. And strangely, he was the first person in California to ever receive that particular punishment. So, first person to ever receive the lethal injection in California. On February 23rd, 1996, sat alone in a cell on death row at San Quentin State Prison, William Bonin ate pepperoni and sausage pizza, drank Coca-Cola, and for dessert had chocolate ice cream. This would be his final meal. At 11:45 p.m, he was taken from his cell and walked into the execution chamber. By 12:13 a.m, William Bonin was declared dead, and the people of California could finally sleep safe in the knowledge that they'd never have to hear of the Freeway Killer again. Or could they?
What?
And that, my friends, is the story of William Bonin, a.k.a. the Freeway Killer.
What? No.
What?
You've left him the cliffhanger.
Well, not really, because we've already sort of addressed this, actually, which is crazy.
Oh, yeah, we have.
Yeah. Randy Stephen Kraft, strangely enough, is another guy whose murders... if you haven't listened to episode 5 of the podcast, go back and listen to that. Because
don't say too much now.
No, but essentially his murders and his crimes were so close to William's, and everything was, and even the same area. They were in the same area. Mm-hmm. They were dumping the bodies in the same sort of places. That literally, when the police caught William, they thought the murders were going to stop because they thought there was only one guy, but obviously, as we know from when we saw episode 5, the murders continued. Mm-hmm. Not all of them, but some of them continued. And it was because of Randy Stephen Kraft. And Randy Stephen Kraft as well also kept a book of all his escapades.
Yeah, he did.
The ages were very similar of the people he was with.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go for it.
When he said that he has intel...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, bitch. So I was fucking thinking, what if this is like he knew of Randy Kraft? Because he obviously is someone who's driving around and mingling with murderers and rapists and people. So he's in the know with this sort of weird, fucked up crowd. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say there was a fucking ring of rapists murdering pedophiles in that area. Randy Kraft was part of them. William was part of them. These other fuckers were part of them. And I'm thinking that is crazy. I think it's crazy, right?
Conspiracy theories.
I love conspiracy. Well, it's kind of a half conspiracy theory, half fact, really, because half of it is that we definitely know he was friends with all these fuckers. But then, it goes to that question, doesn't it? How far down the rabbit hole do you go with this? How large was this ring?